Okay, here we go. That was insane! Hey guys, welcome and hello. I want to give you a quick top 10 list of tips for traveling in Thailand. So you have the most successful travel from here in Mongolia or wherever you are to travel in Thailand during the winter. So these are my 10 tips to travel to Thailand.
Number 1, make sure to know your visa requirements.
Each country has a different rule for what visas they require to visit. Some countries are super simple, such as Thailand, South Korea, and even Hong Kong. You can just show up, get a visa on arrival, and you're good to go, no money needed. Other countries you need a little more planning ahead, such as Cambodia. They require a $25, and yes, US dollar fee to get their visa on arrival, and also a photo ID, usually passport size. If you don't have the photo ID, you can pay a couple extra bucks and they'll do it for you. Other countries, such as China and Russia, require a visa that's done way ahead of time. And you have to be careful. Canada and the US don't always have the same rules. And yes, I'm looking at you, Vietnam. Wherever you're going, make sure to check what the latest visa requirements are. They do tend to change, but it's best to be aware and see what's the best way to get into your country you're visiting.
Number 2, have copies of your reservations and have copies of your passports.
Have copies ready. And what I mean by this is you should have copies of your passport and copies of your hotel registration. The first reason is safety. Having an extra ID or copy of your ID is always a good thing. If you lose your passport, that copy could be the only thing that proves who you are. I usually keep a copy in every piece of luggage that I carry and then a copy on my person. The other thing that I bring, and this is weird because I hate paper, is I bring a copy of my hotel reservations. The reason is sometimes you book through an agency such as a Priceline or something like that, and they don't always communicate well with some of the smaller hotels in some of these places that we get to visit in Southeast Asia. So it's always good to have a copy on hand. And why not just show them my phone? Because more times than not, my phone ends up being dead by the time I finally reach the spot I am going. So have a copy of your passport on every piece of your baggage and have a copy of your hotel reservations.
Number 3, if you lose something, don't freak out.
You may lose your stuff. In fact, you probably will lose something along the travels if you are on a long extended travel. I just want to tell you a quick story. Last winter, I was on a trip with my wife and a couple of my friends, and we lost everything important. We lost first our passports, next we lost a cell phone, and then next we left our MacBook Pro in the seat pocket of the airplane. But I just want to say, in all 3 situations, we got them back. The passport was left on the plane. We called the plane and they returned it the next day because the plane had already left. The cell phone was left in a taxi. Luckily the cell phone wasn't dead, so we could call the cell phone and then they brought it back. He charged me a lot for returning that cell phone, but I was happy to get my cell phone back. And finally the MacBook Pro. Same thing as the passport, left in the back of the seat. It flew to the next destination, had to wait till the next morning, but they got it back to us. All 3 situations were terrifying. But remember, it doesn't mean someone's stolen your stuff if you can't find it. Think back to where you left it last. Trace your steps back and just don't freak out. Think about it logically because it's not going to help anything. So take your time, retrace your steps, make a few phone calls. You'll be surprised what you come up with.
Number 4, make sure that you know the baggage allowance for each airline that you are using.
Now, one of my favorite things to do in Southeast Asia is to fly budget airlines. And we're talking like Nok Air, 123 Go, Spring Air out of Shanghai, where the CEO once was said, if I could get people to be in standing room, I would do it. Gotta love the Spring Air. Or my favorite, Air Asia. All of these airlines are great because they're super cheap, but they're also terrible because if you bring baggage you're not planning on, they will murder you with the fees. But if you plan ahead, you'll be okay. AirAsia even has different set weights. You can have a 15 kilogram or a 20 kilogram. So make sure you weigh your bags and really plan ahead. And some of these budget airlines offer food, but they cost a lot on the plane, but they don't cost that much if you order ahead. So think about your flights, think about when you're going, but make sure your baggage weighs the right amount. And even think about if you're gonna buy stuff in Thailand and then come back to country, maybe you don't check a bag going in, but you check a bag going back out. So those are some things to think about.
Number 5, be sure to let people know where you're going.
This is so important. So many times you have a mom who can't get a hold of her daughter or son, and she just expects the worst. And there's no way to get a hold of her if she hasn't told anyone. So if you are in teaching right now, tell your leaders. And make sure you send a copy of your itinerary to your leaders and to the states. That way people know where you are. I also suggest that you register with your respective government. For the US, it's the STEP program. That's step.gov.state. Excuse me. That's step.state.gov. For Canada, I gotta read this one off it. It's travel.gc.ca/traveling/registration. I'll put it in the link below. But make sure you tell people what's going on. It can keep you safe and it can keep your loved ones from worrying too much.
Number 6, when you're traveling, bring cash and a debit card that will work.
What do I take? My debit card, my cash, or my credit card, or my traveler's checks? Traveler's checks, remember those? My suggestion is take all 3. The best exchange rates are through ATMs. However, your debit card has to work first. And I've had multiple problems, sometimes because my ATM is not a large enough bank that it has trouble transferring to certain banks in Thailand or Cambodia or Vietnam. Other times, it's because it doesn't have the right symbol. Now, the 2 cards that do seem to work everywhere are the ones with the Visa logo and the ones with Union Pay. If you're not familiar with Union Pay, it usually comes out of Chinese banks, but there are some in Mongolia and other places in Asia that have the Union Pay logo on it. Doesn't mean it'll work 100% of the time, but it has a lot better chance of working. I also suggest bringing cash. USD is preferable. When you're in a bind, USD usually can get the job done. And you don't know what can happen or what ATMs are going to be available at certain locations. And finally, a credit card. Always a good idea, but credit cards are there when your debit card doesn't work. Because often my Visa credit card will work better than my Visa debit card. Why? No idea. But my credit card usually comes to the rescue. So I suggest taking all 3. Your debit card for ATMs, getting cash in country, USD, because that usually has the best exchange rate, and your credit card as a safety net when you need it. Number 7, find time to really relax and get refreshed. Find the way you relax. My mode of operation is go, 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 go. I love to see as many things as I can and do as many things as I can, but sometimes this just burns me out, and I'm a high energy guy. Really find out what you like and what really relaxes you. Some people it's the beach. Some people hate the beach. Some people it's a place where they can get to coffee shops and libraries and bookstores. Other places it's hiking in the woods. Find out what is best for you. And sometimes you just need to get away to really spend that time to work on yourself, on your mind, your body, and your spirit. So take that time and really find out what a vacation is to you and how can you really rejuvenate.
Number 8, find friends in ELI, whether it's in Chiang Mai or in another city.
People over places. If you have friends that you know from college or from teaching or from any other aspect of life, find a way to visit them. And if they're not on vacation, sometimes that's better. Some of my favorite trips have been visiting teachers in Laos and teachers in Vietnam and just seeing what their real life is like. My favorite stories are the ones that, not of these amazing places I visited, but sometimes just dinners where we heard the stories of some of my friends' parents and backgrounds, and it's made trips so much more memorable. While the places are cool, the people are where the heart really is of traveling. So I suggest people over places.
Number 9, know what time you're arriving in Chiang Mai or wherever.
Check those flight times. Okay, major problem that many people face when flying to Chiang Mai, they get there at midnight. Everything's closed, you can't exchange money. If the ATM's broke, you're really out of luck and you gotta take a sketchy tuk-tuk to get home. Really check your times. And if you do have to get at a late flight, make sure somebody knows or somebody can be there, or make sure you're traveling with somebody. Because so many people have had the exact same story. Oh, I got in at midnight and I had to pay way too much for my taxi and couldn't find any money, so I had to borrow from a friend. So many times this is the situation. So take the extra time. If you can book a flight a little early in the day, do it. But if you can't, make sure you have some standbys. People know when you're coming in. People can meet you. People can go with you.
Number 10, make sure to adventure outside of the Duong Ton and see more of Chiang Mai.
Do something new. Really explore. Often people will just go to the hotel, go to whatever they need to go to during the day, and they won't really explore the city. Chiang Mai is an amazing city. Thailand's an amazing country. Really get to know it. Ask people who've been there many times. Ask locals what the favorite places are to visit, and really just get to know the city. It's an amazing place, and it's an amazing opportunity to be able to travel there. Try to go out of your norm. Maybe take a cooking class if you don't cook, or maybe go on a hike even if you don't hike. Just something that kind of pushes your boundaries a little bit more. So there you go. Those are my top 10 tips for traveling to Thailand this winter. And I'll see you on the other side.
Thank you and have a great trip.
Number 8. Is it 5?
Oh, it's
Passports with you.
going on.
This is like when I made that movie, but I'm the kid.
Yeah. All right. So let's start with. So there you are. Those are my top 10 trip.